It's fun.
Hey guys, we're back. This is the after hours. So we just finished a fine Viognier from California, Russian
You
River
finished. I
Valley.
still have a sip.
Dumont. Andrew was smart enough to save himself a sip
Patient enough.
to go with his empanada. We're having Salumi's Salumi Tapas and Wine Bar in Massapequa's famous empanadas.
It deserves to be famous.
Oh, these are crazy. These are amazing. Because the crust, we have a crust recipe that nobody else has.
It's all about the
Oh
crust.
shoot, there's some little left.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
It's all about the crust.
All right.
Or the bread.
I'll take a little.
The word bread in Spanish is
Thank you so
pan.
much. Pan.
It's in the word empanada. It means embedded. It's
Right.
literally what it means.
Correct.
Which is not a word in English, I don't really think.
Embedded? No.
Embedded. But that's exactly what it is in Spanish.
Empanada. Right.
Embedded. It's the past participle of to wrap something in bread,
Right.
basically.
To
Yeah.
empanada something.
It's fantastic.
To embread. Yeah, this is embreaded.
The wine's like totally warm now.
So what what is the empanada that we're having here?
I think, what is it, like coconut curry or something? I think so. Coconut curry, right?
Yeah. This is what you were saying would pair.
And it does. It certainly doesn't disagree with it.
Coconut curry chicken
That works.
with Russian River Valley, California Viognier.
Viognier.
Not bad.
Yep. And I'm starving.
God, it's good.
Crazy. We don't eat enough on these things. I understand why food shows do so well, because, like, you know Anthony Bourdain? He used to hate, he said it, he hated putting alcohol, like wine, on the TV.
Because?
I don't know, he just, maybe it's boring, I don't know. But food, food you just look at, you know it looks good, you know it tastes good, you eat it, and like you have the expression like you have right now, you know it's genuine.
Wow.
I know. Food just like, you know, food, pleasure from food hits a little deeper than pleasure, the immediate pleasure from wine.
Sure.
You get drunk from wine.
Right.
That's a broader pleasure. You're just like, ooh, I feel good.
Wow.
But the intensity of eating something that's delicious, like this empanada.
Is this amazing or what?
Yep.
God.
Especially when you're a bit hungry. A bit hungrier than you'd like to be.
And you've had a couple of drinks.
I've had a couple drinks, but
that whets the appetite. It whets the appetite.
it can.
For sure.
You get like the what do you call them? Beer munchies or the drunk munchies
right.
or something. But also, I biked for an hour today. I walked for hours. 4 miles of walking, an hour of biking. I'm sorry. All I had today was 2 sunny side up eggs.
I would say
That's all I have.
that the Viognier pairs very nicely
And
with the Thai
wine and
curry
beer.
chicken.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. There's a little bit left. All right. Should we?
I had.
You had you already paired them.
Did you
Okay.
have it with that? What did you think?
I thought it was great.
Good.
Great, good pairing, right? Good call.
So
Good call.
what is our after hours drink?
Good question. What are you feeling? What are we drinking?
We could certainly get away with. So I ordered more Calisano. That's coming tomorrow. More chartreuse is coming tomorrow.
He's talking about this premium red vermouth.
The best
Calisano.
vermouth in the world. In the world. Right? Have you
Yeah.
ever had anything even close?
It's a great vermouth.
It's crazy. There's another bottle anyway, so that's fine if you want to use that one. Do we want vermouth? I mean, vermouth is I love.
You know, I like vermouth with scotch.
Okay.
Vermouth and scotch. You know, it's like a Manhattan, but instead of rye or bourbon, you put scotch. They call it a Rob Roy. I like it on the rocks. Rob
Right, it's
Roy's
basically
normally up.
Manhattan. Right.
It's I like a Rob Roy on the rocks with good vermouth and good scotch.
Okay. Not a bad call. What kind of scotch would you use? Something peatier, less peaty?
Listen, I love the Lefroy.
We don't have to
from
blend because you
Isla.
drank it all.
I know. I love the Lefroy from Isla. It's very peaty, iodine-y,
You like that with-
smoky. Love
The
it.
sweetness probably is good with it.
You know what?
Of
The sweetness
vermouth.
tempers it, and the aromatics and the vermouth kind of blend together with the peatiness. I think it's tremendous.
Okay. Okay.
I like a Lafroig and Calisano Vermouth Rob Roy on the rocks.
Ooh, nice, nice. What's your ratio of whiskey to
1 to 1.
1 to 1. So not exactly a traditional Rob Roy Manhattan type thing.
Where it would be more like 2 parts of hard liquor and 1 part of vermouth, or what do you think?
I think even that's aggressive. It might be like 4 to 1 or 5 to 1 usually.
Just a little bit of vermouth?
I think so. I think most of the classic recipes, they're, especially with whiskey or whatnot, they exist. I think.
I'm gonna check this.
You're gonna knock that glass over.
Where's
I
our...
think they exist to highlight the flavor of the spirit.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like an original old fashioned, it's just a sugar cube to round out the whiskey, bitters to add a little aroma, and a twist of orange. There's no muddled cherry in there.
No.
That takes too much of the flavor away. It just tastes like whiskey with it's softer, a little more aromatic, you know, a little more filling. Yeah,
I'm looking up the recipe. I feel like our production intern should be doing this. Do we have an intern? Where's our? Did we get anybody? No. We don't have an intern.
I don't think so. Our production. Do we have one?
We should have an intern who should be doing this. You know what? Somebody advertise this as an unpaid intern.
I could look it up on my phone very quickly. It's just
what the?
Being such a production that you're doing there.
Yeah. Well, get your phone out then. I can't.
Yeah. Although I'm objecting to your.
Ugh.
Yeah, we can't both be on a digital device. And close it. It's like bright.
Okay. All right. He's getting out of control in an after-hours session.
I'm getting drunk.
Can somebody please look up the recipe for a Rob?
I'll look it up. I don't think I want to have a peaty scotch with my Rob Roy though.
Well, your loss. Your loss.
I can't. I don't.
Fine.
I'm not really into it.
Fine.
You know.
Fine. So that's not
peaty
what we're
is
drinking.
not my preference.
So what are we drinking?
We have to drink the exact same thing. Can we both drink a Rob Roy and you have a peatier version? I have a less peaty version.
I think we should drink. I'm going to drink whatever you drink.
Why don't we have a classic Manhattan? Yeah?
If you say so.
All right. Am I looking up Manhattan ratio or Rob Roy ratio? They're the same.
I don't think
thing,
it'll matter. But look up Rob Roy. What's the recipe for a Rob Roy?
Rob Roy from the IBA, the International Bartenders Association. Right? You got it?
So it's 2 ounces of scotch and 3/4 of an ounce sweet vermouth.
So a little less than 2 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2.5 to 1.
I'm good with 2 to 1. All right. You know what?
2 to 1's fine. I'm okay with it. Especially when the vermouth is that fucking good.
Do you not like Lafroig single malt scotch?
I have to be in a really particular mood. Remember the Brexit night?
Yeah.
We had the rosé party. I don't know, to the viewers, it's like, how did this turn into...
That was a couple of years ago.
Lafroig, but
yeah.
We had the rosé party in June, whatever it was. I forget the exact date. I shouldn't guess it because the Brexit night is a specific date. And Brexit happened the night of our rosé party. We found out toward the end of the rosé party, and then we were here with whoever else stayed at the after party. We had rosé all night, and then we had Lafroig on Josh. And, you know, it was overkill. I don't think anybody finished
so
it.
Drunk
I don't think anyone finished the Lafroig that you poured. Everyone was like, okay.
After drinking 5 different rosés.
It's so intense.
Yeah.
You got to be in a particular mood for, or you're just like a real aficionado of Scotch. That I think that with Scotch you tend to gravitate more towards the peaty styles the more you drink Scotch because the intensity attracts you or something.
I think it has a delicious, like, savory, rich note. As it says on the bottle of Lafroig, it's the most richly flavored of all Scotch whiskeys.
Does it say that? No, it's fine. It's fine. Let's do it. Let's go for it. Maybe, you know what? I've never had a Rob Roy with a highly peated Islay Scotch.
So you got to try it.
So let's see. I mean, maybe.
No, look at the bottle. On the bottle, it says the most richly flavored of all Scotch whiskeys.
I don't really disagree off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Lafroig, by the way. Lafroig.
Yeah, the most richly flavored of all Scotch whiskeys.
Yes, it does say that. It does indeed.
You wonder if the other producers are like, what?
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you rascal.
That's not true.
Lafroig, yeah, and we're pronouncing it correctly. It clearly states.
Yeah, they can say that, but is it true? It's like how Budweiser is the king of beers.
The king of beer. Somebody is prohibited from doing something like that. I think that the Japanese whiskeys are prohibited. Maybe I'm wrong. It's something like this. I think it is them though. Japanese whiskeys are legally prohibited from mentioning on their label any ambiguous claims to quality, like the king of beers. Doesn't that kind of imply we're the best beer?
Right.
You know,
well, I always
they're
ask,
prohibited from saying anything
Budweiser
like that.
says that they're the king of beers. Do the other beers acknowledge the sovereignty of Budweiser?
Yeah, I
Does
don't think
Miller
so.
go,
Yeah.
my liege? But I acknowledge,
you are the best beer.
I don't think the other beers acknowledge that.
Miller is like the second best beer.
I don't think they acknowledge Budweiser's claim to crown.
Right. I don't think it's recognized.
Yeah. But I wonder the same thing about the most richly flavored of all Scotch whiskeys.
Right. Although I kind of don't disagree with it.
It's
based
richly
on anything
flavored.
I've had. But what do you mean by rich even? It's not very like fruity, it's smoky.
Yeah, it's smoky. But I think there's more than smokiness. I think there's a savory note.
There's an intensity. You know, and like on that note of things that are prohibited, in Bordeaux for wine, I think you're prohibited from putting any mystical, this is like, I'm quoting, I believe, the law, mystical creatures cannot appear on the label.
Really?
Of a
No
Bordeaux
dragons?
Nothing.
No unicorns?
I believe that's
okay.
the truth.
Interesting.
And the most... Mythical, yeah.
Right. No dragons, no unicorns.
Nothing.
Okay.
And then one of the most famous ones is Chateauneuf-du-Pape.
Okay.
And I'm
red wine from the South Rhone Valley in France.
It could be white, but yes,
usually
powerful,
red.
usually
Right.
red wine. What are they prohibited from? No. Oh no, UFOs are prohibited from flying over the vineyards. I believe that's the.
Really?
I believe
There's
that
a
in
law.
Chateauneuf-du-Pape, UFOs are restricted legally.
Wow, that's crazy. So the French government made a law say like,
UFOs
hey,
are
listen,
not.
if there are aliens out there and you're listening,
You can't come here.
don't fly over the Chateauneuf-du-Pape vineyards. It's against our law. Please,
It's literally against
please
the law.
respect our laws.
Right.
And don't fly over
Don't fly.
Chateauneuf-du-Pape.
Well,
wow. Why? What caused that?
Who the hell knows? But
Okay.
Bonnie Doon, from
California.
Santa Cruz in California, a famous wine producer. One of the Rhone Rangers is Randall Graham, the original winemaker and I think owner as well of Bonnie Doon. He has a wine. I think he retired recently, like just a couple weeks ago. He has a wine called the Cigar Volant, which means the flying saucer.
Yeah.
And he makes his wines in the Chateauneuf-du-Pape style.
Right, so that must have been a reference to something.
It's a reference to the UFOs being
Right.
illegal. He explained this to me. Remember I went to California years ago?
Yeah.
I actually was fortunate to spend the whole day with Randall Graham. It was crazy. Drank like old wine from the 80s and stuff. But he mentioned that story, and I believe that that's the law, that UFOs are... it's illegal for UFOs to go over Chateauneuf-du-Pape. Yeah.
I love that. The first one is aliens, please respect our laws and don't fly over Chateauneuf.
If you're going to invade, just please
don't
invade.
It's a
but
no-fly zone.
We are making some really important wine here.
Yeah.
Just don't interrupt. We have enough going on.
The vibrations from the saucer affects the grapes.
Not good for the Grenache grape.
And we ask you to please respect that part of our culture.
Right. You know, this is, it's really intense. It's intense.
Too intense?
I don't know about too intense. I think the sweetness from the vermouth really does a lot. It softens the blow.
But doesn't it come together?
The smoke is intense, though. I can just feel it, like, emanating from my breath. It's like...
Yeah.
I feel like I'm breathing smoke.
Yeah. At some point, I don't think we should do it now, but at some point, I'm sure people would like to know, what is a peaty scotch? I mean, they could look it up elsewhere. What causes it to be peaty?
Oh, man.
And it's basically like this, we'll just say real quick, peat is like basically like decayed vegetable matter that's
seaweed,
turned
right?
into like, well, it's not seaweed, it's in bogs, peat bogs.
Yeah.
It's like swamps where the vegetable matter decays year after year, and packs down into this like,
bricks.
mud / pre-coal, like these bricks of combustible mud, and
There's all this carbon in there.
right. It's all vegetable matter, and they burn it for fires, and they toast the malt over peat fires, and it gets this peaty bog garbage smoke smell.
Right,
you know?
right. Well, they would traditionally use the peat because it was the only resource they had on Islay.
There are no trees. There are no trees. You got to burn.
And then it became the style, this is how most of the traditional drinks of the world started, out of a necessity, and then it became the style.
But it's a great flavor, I think.
And of course, you have to roast the malt. You have to introduce heat to the malt for it to stop, right? For it to stop malting to the barley.
Stop the germination.
To stop the germination, I believe so.
Well, I think you could just mill it and cook it into a wort. I don't think you have to roast the barley.
There's an aspect of it that I think you need to, because couldn't it continue if you just milled it? The enzymatic process would still be alive.
But if you mill it, right? Like if you get the enzymatic, you get the sprouting of the barley happening to the point where there's a good amount of sugar in there. Then you take it, you grind it, or you just break it up, you throw it in water, you cook it, and pull out, more starch and sugar, and more of the starches break down into sugars as you cook the wort, the mash at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. No, I don't think it's necessary to toast any of the barley.
Yeah.
You can toast the barley malt to introduce some toasty flavors. I don't think it's necessary. They may do it as a convenience, like they might roast it to stop it because they're not ready to actually brew.
Right. It could be maybe it's a stylistic halting of something. I don't know. I'm a little cobwebby on that.
Yeah.
But I believe that I thought that it was a required step. Maybe it's required for the style.
See, I don't think so. I've actually germinated.
Oh, you've done it.
Yeah, and you could do it without. You don't have to roast anything. You could take malted barley that's sprouted and it's got some sugar and some enzymes going on, and just throw it in some water and cook it into a mash. You absolutely can, and then you can ferment that.
This has an interesting flavor. I mean, really, the iodine flavor that is famous. A famous note for Scotch, like really peaty Scotch, really comes through with this vermouth.
Lately, this has become my go-to cocktail.
Just sweet vermouth and
peaty Scotch. With a couple of, sort of a Rob Roy.
Intense. A Rob Roy of sorts.
I mean, it's basically a Rob Roy.
It's absolutely just a Rob Roy.
Yeah.
I think it would probably have bitters, however, right? If you're making...
But the Calisano is so aromatized. You don't need to add them.
I like it in this little cup too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes it taste better. I feel like than if it was in
a martini glass.
No, not necessarily that. Like this glass is good though, as opposed to I don't know, even our rocks glass, our lowball glass.
Oh, I like this. Yeah.
I guess this is a sort of lowball glass, but it's different.
So we're supposed to get politically incorrect.
I don't know.
In the after hours.
Like what?
You don't like to be politically?
I don't mind.
Oh yeah, it's hard.
I don't know how.
Here's
I'm not
the
naturally politically incorrect.
Well, here's the thing. It's hard to be politically correct these days because it's like, what are you going to say? Like, you want to be edgy and but what are you going to say? Like, oh, transgendered women aren't really women. I mean, sure, obviously that's true in many senses of the word. And everybody kind of gets that, and it's like, whatever, sure, fine.
That pisses a lot of people off. Though.
It does, but it's played out.
You might have something there.
It's played out.
South Park already did it.
Yeah. Are transgendered women actually women in every sense of the word? Well, no. There are some senses of the word woman in which we mean, like, biological, XX, and so forth. Yeah, whatever. Sure, they're not. And then, you can say things like, the white race is the best race of all races. But it's like, that's played out. That's been done forever. And what does it mean, right? So all of that is kind of, it's not even edgy.
The best at what?
Yeah, what does that
even
mean? What does that even mean? So that's not even edgy anymore. But I'll tell you what is.
What is edgy?
Politically incorrect.
Something about the COVID.
Edgy. Exactly.
That's
where I was going. That's where I was going.
We're sitting only 5.5 feet apart.
Yeah. Exactly. For us to even do this, hey,
And
man.
you might even have it. You're breathing
Right.
away scotch.
I
right now.
probably do have it. That's politically incorrect. But you know what? It's politically incorrect.
This is gonna be like our fucking obituary. This video, like the last thing they did before they died.
Right. Well, what's politically incorrect is to speak against any of the precautions or the bans. There's become like a very strong social thing. Don't speak against the ban. Don't speak against the lockdown. Don't speak against anything that's being done to prevent. Because we're saving lives.
We're saving lives.
So you cannot speak against
at the expense of the economy. Whoa, the economy is not worth human lives.
No amount of money.
I have a big problem with that. If the economy completely collapses, what's going to happen to people?
That will cost human lives.
It will cost human lives.
Right.
It could lead to a fucking global war. I mean, you don't know what'll happen.
Right.
If there's a global economic depression, it'd be World War III, and 2 billion people could die. I mean, it's insane that notion.
Well, look at it this way. Let's say the whole lockdown thing. Let's say we have to lock down for 5 weeks, right? Let's say.
Sure.
And it
seems like that's what's happening.
Right. And it saves the lives of, let's say, 1 in 100 people who, on average, had maybe 5 years of life left. On average. Some of them maybe more.
And that's generous, maybe.
Right, that's generous. A lot of them are in nursing homes and so on. Yeah. But it saves the lives of 1 in 100 people who had, on average, 5 years of life left. So for every 100 people, it saves 5 years of one person's life, right? But what does it cost? It costs 1/10 of a year of 100 people's lives. We're locked down for 1/10 of a year for 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. So it costs 1/10 of a year times 100. It costs 10 years of human life to save 5 years of human life of that one person that dies 5 years early on average.
Right.
Right? So we're spending 10 years of human life to save 5 years of human life. It doesn't make sense.
The math isn't there.
The math isn't there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
How can you just reduce human lives to just math? What are you, some insensitive prick?
But there's human lives on both sides of the equation. See, that's what people never get. They go like, well, how can you put blah against human life? Everything is human life. Dollars are human life. Time is human life.
Right. How can you? This argument. This is what you see now. How can you put the economy over human life? What do you think the economy is?
The economy is human life.
The economy could simply be people doing something for food. That's an economy.
Right.
And if those people aren't receiving food, they all die.
Yeah.
So I reject this a lot. This very patriotic semblance of like we're saving all these lives or whatever. Yeah. I'm not objecting to the. I'm objecting to the blindness of it and the rejection of hearing anything else, this is the case always, right? You're just not willing to hear the other side. I'm not objecting to like
it's politically
the
incorrect.
notion of it. I'm objecting to the political incorrectness of us being able to talk about it.
We're not even
maybe this
supposed
isn't
to
a
say
good idea.
this.
Maybe this isn't a good idea.
Right.
You know?
It may not be.
Are you kidding me?
According to my calculation, we're killing 10 years of human life to save 5 years of human life.
According to your calculation and whatever, this just may not be a good idea.
We're wasting people's lives.
So what was our thought? We talked about this actually. What was our thought about? I guess we have to wrap it up soon. What was our thought about like why society shut down so quick? Legally anyway. I mean, obviously there is a real threat of this virus. It is